Such a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. I never lost 1 minute of sleep and worrying about the way things might have been. Big wheels keep on turning, primary keep on burning, and we're rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Hi there, I'm Brenda Hamilton. Today I'm going to teach you how to play a song that's one that hopefully you know by CCR called Proud Mary. So that was a song that I played with just 2 chords. So we'll get into those chords a bit later, but I wanted to talk about how to hold your pick. If you're just learning to play guitar, I like to use a pick that has what we call a cat's tongue, or kind of feels like sandpaper at one side, and it just makes it easier to hold your pick because when your hands get sweaty, it's easy to lose grip on your pick, and the pick tends to turn around and not go where you want it to. It goes sideways and all over the place. So it's nice if you have a pick that is got a little bit of flexibility. You don't want one that's really hard when you're just learning. You just want one that's a little more forgiving, that has a bit of a soft spot in it. But you can check out the picks at your local store, and they're not very expensive. They're usually anywhere from 25 cents to $1 a piece, so you can pick up a bunch of them for $1 usually at any local music store. So I wanted to talk about holding your pick. So when you hold your pick, you have your first 2 fingers holding it just like this, and these fingers are out of the way. And you want to keep your wrist very loose, very relaxed. So try not to hold your wrist really tight. When you're holding it tight like this, it gets really hard on your arm, and your wrist gets tight. You want to keep it loose and fluid, because if you're holding it really tight all the time, eventually your muscles in your arms are going to get very sore. So you want to make sure you stay very relaxed and calm, mellow. If you have a guitar, you can do this. Also, if you have a ukulele or a mandolin, you can look up those chords, and we're just going to play the chords A as an apple and E as an Edward. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see what I'm playing. This is 3 fingers. So you're going to skip the smallest string, put your fingers on the next 3 strings, 1, 2, 3. So the top strings are empty, there's no fingers on there, and the bottom string there's no finger on there. So it'll sound like this. And if it doesn't ring like that, if you get this, you need to push a little harder. Push a little harder. If you're getting this, it just means you're not pushing hard enough. Push a little harder. There's also a simpler way to play an A. But you really have to push. You can put your finger on the 2nd fret. Eventually the tips of your fingers will have little grooves in them, and you'll get calluses, and that's okay because it makes it easier to play as you go along. We'll show you the E chord, which is 1, 2, 3. Your 3rd string from the bottom, and then the next 2 bigger strings, and that is your E chord. It sounds like. So if you're not pushing quite hard enough, you're going to get something that sounds like this. So you want to practice pushing with the very tips of your fingers, very tips, and eventually you'll get little grooves in your fingers, and that's okay. It'll make it easier to play over time. Try to practice 15 minutes every day. In the morning, in the evening, right after supper, just before you go to bed, whatever time is good for you. So we'll take a few minutes just to talk about rhythm, because a lot of us focus on getting the chords right on our fingers, which is important, but it takes a bit of practice. It takes time because you're doing several things at the same time. You're strumming with one hand, you're pushing on the strings here to make your chords, to make your sounds on this hand so that you get the right chord. And maybe you're singing too, and maybe you're singing with other people. So there's a lot of things that your brain has to think about. So it's worth doing a bit of practice and just focusing on either your chord formations, like this and this, or working on your strumming. I suggest just holding your fingers on the strings and getting your rhythm right. For example, when I was playing Proud Mary, this is the rhythm. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. There's your rhythm. So practice just muting the strings so that you're not focusing on getting all your fingers in the right spot when you're just starting. So here we go again. That's our rhythm. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. We could go a little slower if we find that you're having a hard time getting that rhythm. We'll slow that down a little bit. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. All right, so let's put that together. So we have our fingers on A, we skip the small string like this, or if you're using the full finger across, which is kind of like a bar chord, I'll use the proper A, which means we're not touching the bottom string. So again, skip the bottom string, 1, 2, 3, and the top strings don't have any fingers on it, and the bottom string doesn't. So here we go. That's what A will sound like. Here we are. All right, so your first verse is all one chord. So that's a really great way to learn your rhythm and get some confidence and have some fun, because you want to find a song that you know and one that you can play relatively easily. You want to start with an easy song. You can make a list of other songs you'd like to learn as you get better. I sure did. I have a very long list. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. E. Here we go. Switch to E. So that's your third string, your pointer finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger. The top string is empty. So we want that to have that nice bassy sound. That's E right there. Big wheels keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning. Go back to A. Skip the first string, 1, 2, 3. Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Next verse. Cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis, pumped a lot of pain down in New Orleans, but I never saw the good side of the city till I hitched a ride on the riverboat Queen. E. Here we go. Big wheels keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning. A. Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Last verse, here we go. If you come down to the river, bet you're gonna find some people who live. You don't have to worry, 'cause you have no money. People on the river are happy to give. E. Big wheels keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning. A. Rolling, rolling, do practice that, and feel free to drop me a line. Would love to hear how you're doing with your music. It's a great time to learn if we have extra time at home. And also, if you have a mandolin or a ukulele, they are tuned the same way. So you can play A and E. It's the same chords. It's not fingered the same. The shape of the chord is not the same as on the guitar, but you can look up online the chord patterns for the chord A as an apple and E as an Edward. So have a great time, and would love to hear how you're doing. Take care. Happy National Public Service Week.